All right, mic check, mic check, mic check. Morning Masters Podcast, just made of course. I'm back with a special guest. I got no other than Jordan Johnson. All right, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Clapping it up for you.
I appreciate you, man.
How you doing, man?
Life's good.
That's what's
Life's
up. You got
good.
a nice suit on, big smile on your face, nice haircut. You know.
Hey, man, I just got done with the commission meeting, so I had to put some clothes on today.
Hey, I was talking to you off mic, but I've seen you out a few times actually. And every time I see you out, you got like lounge clothes, like either you done cut the grass or you just going out shopping for something or
Yeah.
grocery shopping. I think I've seen you in Walmart a few times. Yeah, you just look very regular when I see you out.
I like to wear hoodies. I'm a hoodies and sweats kind of dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's because I don't like ironing clothes and stuff like that. So I throw on a hoodie and a graphic tee or something and just go out. You know, but I had to put on
what's
a
up.
suit today, man. I had work to do.
That's what's up, man. So we ain't talking about it almost a year, about a year now. 'Cause I think last year we did it around February, almost top of the year. That was a good interview. I got a lot of great feedback from
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
People told me they felt like they knew you more, learned more about Jordan Johnson, the person, versus the commissioner.
Yeah.
You know, but then they learned more about the commissioner too. So,
Yeah.
and I also think I got feedback of just like the knowledge you had as far as how you knew what each role was and who was supposed to do what. And it wasn't no bias there when you were saying who's supposed to do what. It was just you gave the information out and then went from there. So
Yeah.
people definitely commended you on that. And I think I still got clips I ain't put out from that interview yet. So I still got like, I always feel like if I take a break and I say I take a break for a month, nobody gonna know. 'Cause I got
Yeah.
all these clips I could still drop any
Yeah.
day. So
You do your thing, man. I mean, that was a good interview. I told you that was probably the best interview I had ever done.
I definitely appreciate that, man.
I
Clap it up
watched
for
it
me.
a few times and I had to shoot it off to some people, asked them what they thought about it, and they said, man, that was a good interview.
Yeah,
That's what happened when you're on More Than the Masters. You do your thing, man.
there we
Really.
go. There we go. Clap it up.
You mean it too.
Man, yeah. Ben Hassan is somebody who I'm a big fan of, but I think recently became a big fan of me. And when I think he started watching around the time I might have had you on.
Mhm.
And he don't know we had spoke prior to
Yeah.
that one day. Just on I had Karen on. I was talking about some issues in Pepperidge or whatever. And she said, "Oh, Ben Hassan, that's who you need to talk to."
Yeah.
We spoke. He called me the next day. I ain't have to call. He called me. Like he was that kind of person.
Did he call
called
you
me
early in the morning? Like
early. I
6,
was at
7
work.
o'clock in the morning?
I said, "Hey, I'm opening the store. I cannot talk right now."
Yeah.
And I don't think he remembered it, but then when I had you on, and then when I did him, and I think the length of our conversation, the questions I asked, and just how much he was open, I think he was like, damn, he might know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I one thing I would say, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but like, 'cause a lot of things that with you and your field, it's kind of not saying popularity, but people can like you one day and not like you the next day.
Mhm.
It just
Oh,
depends
yeah.
on what you say and what you decide, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I don't have to go off that because the people like you, people like Ben Hassan, and people that I look up to, that I like, that I respect, always give me kudos. So sometimes when people that maybe my peers or maybe, I don't know, I really don't get no disrespect, but if I get people that don't like something, it don't bother me as much because the people that really supposed to matter liking it,
Yeah.
love it, and give me all the kudos I need. So I definitely feel safe in this space a lot of
Man.
times. So
Man, I love coming on the show. I really do.
appreciate you.
You know, and Ben is a good guy. You know,
Definitely.
I had the pleasure of serving with him for, I think it was 2 years.
Yeah, he's a legend.
You know, being a 26-year-old on the commission, it's like, Ben was something else.
You can learn so much from him, though.
Yeah.
He's so raw.
Yeah, he is.
We
Yes, he
spoke
is.
about that, you know, about sometimes you can't be raw in this field because
Yeah.
it's hard. And I think that's why everybody I talk to, give him nothing but the highest
Oh, he's, a,
praise.
he's a legend.
But I also
Yeah.
know there's the other side where people feel like, well, he's this, he's that, because
Mm-hmm.
he probably then came up at them or, you know, been
Right.
aggressive to them, you know.
Yeah.
And me and him talk all the time.
Yeah.
He say that every time I talk to him, he say, you know, they might say a lot about me, but I say, hey, listen, they don't say nothing bad
Don't
about
say
you.
nothing
Like,
bad about
you were good.
I don't got nothing but respect for Ben. No, he and I consider him a good mentor. I consider him somebody I like to bounce things off of. And you're right. Some people do have things to say about him, but that's because he don't just lay down and take certain
That's
things.
what he don't lay down.
Yeah. And I had the privilege of like learning from him
Mhm.
and watching how he maneuvers. You know, I ain't gotten to like the 6 o'clock in the morning phone calls yet. I don't do that. But he'll call you 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, ready to roll. But he is a wealth of knowledge, man.
Well,
Real wealth of knowledge.
Let's start with that a little bit, because I want to start there. So you speak about it, Ben Hassan, but think about your first couple of years in office and or not even just commissioner, just in that field of politics, right?
Yeah.
Like living, not saying vicariously, but you know, kind of like watching people around you, whether they make mistakes, the missteps they have, the things that backfire, the plans they might make and that falls through, the dedication, the lack of dedication. When you think of all that in totality, what do you learn from watching others around you that kind of makes you successful now?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. It's a real good
I
question.
try every now and then. I'm not gonna lie. I really be trying.
Look, man, I think so. So the big thing for me is I started paying attention to Augusta government when I was probably like 16 or 17 years old, and it was all about trying to get a pothole filled in my community. And a commissioner told me to get out into the intersection and take pictures of everything. And ironically, that same commissioner, I serve with him now. That's a whole nother conversation about serving with him now. But I had the privilege of watching people like Harold Jones, State Senator Harold Jones, who is just one of the best legislators I've ever seen. Like, this man can take a 50-page bill and read it word for word, dissect it, understand it, get the votes necessary to pass it, and just, this dude is amazing. I had an opportunity to, like I said, learn from people like Ben Hassan. I watched Bill Fenoy kneel during the Colin Kaepernick protest and the George Floyd stuff. Like, I've had the privilege of watching so many legendary figures in this city do politics. I met Ed McIntyre, the first black mayor, when I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know who he was, but I remember the very moment that I met him. I met Willie Mays.
Okay.
Willie Mays was one of the first to ever do this in our city. Like, just a legend in his right. The day that I became a commissioner, he called me and left me a voicemail that day. And he's since passed away. But to answer the question, like, I've gotten so much institutional knowledge from people who've been in the trenches doing this work. Ben, working way before he became a commissioner, can tell you anything that ever happened in the city. So I've gotten that knowledge from them. And it's not, nothing that I have is because I've just gotten it by myself. Like, I've been able to study folks. I've been able to link up with people and be mentored and, learn how to get things done. And I really appreciate them for that. I was 17 years old. I didn't know where to go at 17 years old. But as I grew and as I matriculated through some things, I made some mistakes. I bumped my head against the wall a few times.
Yeah.
But those folks that I mentioned, man, they were always there, always willing to, to help me, to speak to me, to coach me through certain things. And I appreciate them. I really do.
I think you say something important in there. You said, you bumped into the wall a few times. And I think a lot of times, this is in life in general, but definitely in politics, it's kind of hard because when you're running for something and when you're 30, right? You're 30, you're running for something.
Yeah.
They will bring up something you voted for, something you had a stance on. You was 18.
You were 17 years old.
17. It's like, bro, I wasn't even fully developed yet.
Yeah.
But I think about that in a sense where a lot of times we don't realize how much, our mistakes, our quote unquote losses are really lessons and that help us in the future.
Yeah.
So even though you might have had some missteps at some point, that's kind of got you to where you are now,
Right.
and why you make the decisions you make now. We talk about integrity off the mic, and I was talking about, and I think it's super common to do. A lot of times when you hear rumors about somebody or hear something bad about somebody, it's usually when they've either possessed, I would say, a lack of integrity, or they didn't possess integrity yet.
Yeah.
But you kind of got to earn that. You're not born with integrity. You're not born with making the right decision. You're not born with right from wrong 100%. You got to kind of walk your way through there.
You got to mess up a few times.
Got to mess up.
Yeah. And then you have to admit that you messed up.
Yes.
Like, I think one thing about leadership is that you can't run from the truth about yourself. If there's if there's a character flaw that you have, you have to own it, So
Definitely.
And that don't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're talking a lot about Ben, but there were situations to where, like, we would go at it. I would call him just hot. I'm talking going at it with Ben. And, Ben would go back at it with you, but he would always just kind of pause. And after I say what I had to say, and this man would read me up and down. And then when he get done reading me up and down, he'll encourage me.
Yeah, that's how, that sounds like him.
He'll encourage me, but I consider that to be a blessing because, again, man, at 26, 27, 28, I was getting a lot of things done, but, half your brain is still developing at that time.
You could kind of get ahead of yourself in the sense where, because you're getting so much done, you feel a way, like you feel like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people are watching like, I done did that 10 times over.
Right.
You ain't did nothing yet.
Right.
But in your mind, you tired from doing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, I'm doing something.
Right. You got a
So I get
pothole
it.
field? I did it too. Like, okay.
You talk about, you just spoke about, being a leader and how, you got to accept your flaws. And so what are some flaws you think you've accepted that you may have had in the past, whereas it was kind of a hard pill to swallow, but I probably shouldn't use them words. I'm just saying no
You
Diddy.
good.
I don't know. But, it was a hard pill to swallow, but you ended up overcoming it.
One of the hardest things about this job is keeping up with all of your correspondence. Like, I have 25,000 constituents, and it seems like they call me at the same time every day. Like, my phone rings all day, every day. Both phones. I have a personal phone and I have a city phone. I have an email account, an iPad, all that. They ring and they charm, they ding all day long. And I think that's probably been one of the hardest things for me as a commissioner. You'll be surprised that commissioners don't have secretaries. We don't have any administrative help. We don't have anybody to help us with our research. We don't have anybody to help us keep up with that type of stuff. They give you an iPad, they take your picture, and they give you an iPhone. And they say, go serve the city. So if I'm getting a call from somebody in Marion Homes about grass being 12 foot tall, which actually happens, at the same time, I'm probably getting a call from somebody at the Richmond Summit getting ready to be evicted because they're not able to pay their rent. So I'm going to miss one of those calls.
Right.
I spend about an hour a day returning phone calls. And you might say, you can get a lot of phone calls returned in an hour. That's like 6 calls.
Yeah,
Maybe 7
talk.
calls. But yeah. And you know what I do? I hold the phone and I listen. I take notes and I listen. I have sat on the phone for 45 minutes with one person. And I'm not going to be the commissioner to hang the phone up and start talking to you. People say, oh, he's always on Facebook. Well, we always hear that.
Yeah.
But I get messages in my Messenger, Instagram. I get snapped questions. So I think one of the hardest things for me has been keeping up with calls, keeping up with correspondence. I know for a fact I've missed a good amount. But the thing about it is, every commissioner has.
Yeah,
every
definitely.
elected official has. But that's not enough for me to feel okay with. It's not enough for me to just know that I'm not the only commissioner missing phone calls. No, I want to hold myself to a better standard. I got to hold myself to a higher standard. So one thing that I've learned to do is I turn my iPhone all the way up,
Yeah.
and when it rings, I try to answer right then and there. If I can't get back to it, like I said, that hour in the evening, I'm working through calling folks back. I think that's probably one of the biggest character flaws. And I don't even know if it's a character flaw. I think it's one of the biggest things that that I have personally wrestled with, the accountability piece there.
Gotcha.
I know that is something that, is tough to manage, but I beat myself up about it because I want to hold myself to a higher standard. Because the issues that people are dealing with in this city, man, they're not unique to Augusta, but there's some tough issues. And if they don't feel they can reach their commissioner, then me running for office and doing all this stuff is in vain. So I try to, for every call that I've missed, I probably received and returned twice as many.
Right.
But I still get caught up over the ones that I've missed because that becomes your label.
Well, that's one that's true to label thing.
Yeah.
We spoke about that. A lot of times you only get one chance for some people.
Right.
Especially in politics.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then especially around voting time. Because they're
Right.
like, no, I called you 3 years ago. Now, mind you didn't did stuff the first 2, 3, 4, whatever
Yeah.
years. But that one time you didn't answer that first phone call.
That's
And you probably could have
suspension.
fixed the problem, but you
Yeah.
didn't call them back.
Right.
But I want to
Yeah.
talk what you said because I always tell you this, and I told you this last time. I work in retail, you in politics, but I always feel like it's politics and retail. It's politics and everything.
It's everywhere.
Politics, I don't care what it is, it's politics. Retail, wrestling, basketball, drug dealing. I don't care what it is, crime. It's politics in every single thing you can
What's
think
the
of.
difference between all of that?
I know, right?
District zone,
So when you mention the calls, I know sometimes I remember the AP, asset protection, LP, whatever you want to call it. He was talking to me one day, and I remember it was something I said just in a joking way, but he said something in a joking way as well. But it stuck with me. He was like, "Well, what was that about?" I said, some lady said she lost her wallet. I don't know, whatever. Like I shut the camera. I don't feel like doing that. He's like, "Oh well, it's probably not important to you. It's probably mean the world to her." I was like, "Damn."
Yeah.
I felt bad. Like,
Yeah.
Thought he was gonna laugh a little bit and just walk it off.
Yeah.
It made me feel so
It's
bad.
just a
'cause
wallet, Yeah.
To me it was,
Yeah.
but to her it's her life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody is calling, I can see why you would feel away because like to you it might be a missed call.
Yeah.
To her it's an unanswered problem. It's he don't care. It's he said he was gonna do this and he didn't do this. And it's
Yeah. It's much bigger too because, some people, they don't believe in the process anyway. They don't believe that they can pick the phone up and call the commissioner and get
Right.
things done.
right.
And if they get that one glimpse of hope, right, and they pick the phone up and can't get that person who they have hope in, there goes the hope.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And I take that personally which is why I worked so hard to not miss calls. You know I'm gonna miss them. I'm gonna miss your inbox. I'm gonna miss them, but I try my very best to get back to people. And somebody told me the same thing. He said, man, when I reached out to you about an issue that was important to me, I just wanted to feel like it was important to you too. He literally told me that.
Damn.
I was like, well, it was important to me, but no buts. It was important to me, and I wanted it to be important to you. And at the end of the conversation, all I could do was swallow it and say, you know what? I'm sorry. How can I help you next time? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and I get it. And again, like I said, when you're a leader, you have to just face it. You can't act like it doesn't exist.
But what you just said, that part of the job, it's not spoken about a lot.
Yeah.
You said I had to just take it pretty much, like, and that's what it is. Sometimes it's just you lost track of something.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line. Like
Yeah.
we said, 25,000. It's a lot of people. It's a lot.
25,000 people.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a lot
And
of
they call
money.
you
It's a lot
all
of
the time.
everything. Because there's always problems.
Yeah.
To have to work that way when you have 25,000 people's problems be your problems
Right.
and things you have to solve and deal with, it could be a lot. It could be, I think it'd be stressful. So we talk about, gaining and losing weight a lot of times. That's part of the job. So.
I was burying my aunt. My auntie, Aunt Minnie, she was 90 something years old. One of my favorite aunties. She was probably the sweetest woman I ever met. And when she passed, it just broke my heart. But I was at her burial. And at her burial, somebody recognized me and they came up to me and started talking to me about issues in their community. I need you to do this. I need you to ride by. My auntie is not even in the ground yet.
Jesus.
But
Christ.
that comes on with the job. And most elected officials have secretaries. They have administrative assistants. We don't, So, and again, I don't complain about it. It comes with the job. But
and that's all commissioners, right?
yeah, that's all commissioners.
So talk about that a little bit, because I know and I feel like they know you now, so I didn't have to start that way. But just tell them what area you over, just what your day to day as far as commissioner.
So my district is District 1. That's the
District
whole
1.
city of Augusta. That's Laney Walker Boulevard. That's East Augusta, Harrisburg, Sand Hills, the Central Augusta area near Payne College. That's Glendale, that's Shirley Avenue,
Oh God.
over there by Kissenbauer. It's a huge district. Did I say Sand Hills? It's definitely Sand Hills. I go out past the airport. I get Castle Pines. The neighborhood's up 56.
Oh wow. The airport,
Yeah.
and San Hill.
Yeah.
Damn. And
Huge.
Shirley Ave.
Yeah.
And East Augusta.
Yeah. Downtown, all of downtown. I have the landmarks. I have the hospital, the cyber center, the airport, HBCUs, Augusta University. I have the landmarks in my district.
Yeah.
It's huge, man. It is a big district.
Is that the biggest district?
No, so we're all about 25,000 apiece. The largest district is District 5. Well, no,
Okay.
District 3 is the largest district in terms of population. In terms of distance, I would say District 8 would be,
Okay.
because
okay.
District 8 has Blythe and all those areas too. But District 1 is the oldest district, and is the
But
most complicated district.
It's the busiest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You use good words. I was trying to use the right word. 'Cause I want to make sure you agree. You can't agree with some words I'm gonna say, but complicated would be definitely
Definitely
the word.
complicated. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely complicated.
Complex. Definitely complex.
Complex.
Yeah.
Not complicated, complex.
Yeah. Because it's so many different neighborhoods and socioeconomically.
Right. You got a little bit of everything in District 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have Somerville, which parts of District 1 is Somerville,
Yeah.
straight wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few roads down is
Just
Harrisburg.
Just a few.
Yeah. Harrisburg is 80% occupied by low income rent.
You could walk.
Yeah.
Technically speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally just a street over.
Like literally, that's it.
You go up Ellis Street, you can literally see the switch.
Yeah.
Same thing with East Augusta. Same thing with the Laney Walker neighborhood. There's so many different dynamics. You have Eastview, East Boundary,
Mm-hmm.
Old Town, Downtown. Like, it's just so much there that we're having to, really identify the need and try to address it as best as possible. But, we're dealing with issues that folks in wealthy households deal with,
Yeah.
dealing with issues that folks who,
How do you make that balance though? Like because
don't.
you can't, because
No.
it's so many of the it's some. I mean, you got a good bit of wealth, but you got a lot of the opposite of that as
Mostly
well.
poverty.
So like,
Yeah.
as a commissioner, can you even weigh it that way? Like, well, let's just focus on this
No.
have-nots versus that. You can't focus on that, right? So
No.
how do you? or how do you even keep any of your constituents? I learned that word from Kim Macon. Shout out to Kim Macon. You know what I'm saying? But how do you like have a plan to make the bulk of your constituents happy?
You can't. You can't. You can't, man. That's why I like this show, because we just be talking, we just be chilling. So this is how I feel about it. If you live in Somerville and you're calling me about, let's just say, public safety, that's the most important thing to you at that moment. Like we just said, it has to be important to me too.
Right.
So I deal with it right then and there. When you deal with somebody in Harrisburg that doesn't have a car, the house is in terrible conditions, they don't have central heating and air, they don't have groceries, the kids aren't going to school. Like, that's a totally different dynamic that requires a little bit more of your time. And so thankfully I'm able to kind of, like, if I get a call from Somerville about public safety or, trash needing to be picked up or something like that, I can send those calls to the engineering department, and the department is responsible for that.
Can delegate. Yeah,
I can delegate it to the department, take the call, delegate it. They'll email me back or call me and say, hey, it got done. We close that up. But in Harrisburg, I have to go door to door. I have to go sit on people's couches. Like, I got to go talk to mom and say, why is Johnny not in school? And then what she's going to tell me is she don't have transportation. She's probably going to tell me that he don't have clean clothes. She's probably going to tell me he don't have food. So now I'm listening to what those needs are. And my job is to go and try to fill those needs, fill those gaps, get that child back into school, try to figure out how to get air on in the house, how to get heat in the house, how to deal with the slumlord that is allowing that family to live in that condition. There was a house in Harrisburg I dealt with. It had to have been about 8 or 9 people living in that house. It's like a 2-bedroom house. And I mean, the house was atrocious. You could smell it from the street, but it wasn't those people's fault. I mean, that's what they had.
Right.
That's what they had. I mean, that's what they had. They were not gainfully employed, and that's not their fault. That's the system's fault. It's the economy's fault. They were just victims of that. But they needed somebody to step in and just help recalibrate what they are. We were able to get them out of the house and get them into something better, thank God. But those issues take just a little bit more effort than my trash didn't get picked up on time. Okay, give me your address. And while you give me that address, I'm going to be at the Richmond Summit talking to those neighbors about the rat infestation or the bed bug breakout that happened down there. Like, literally, I was at the Richmond Summit and the neighbors were telling me that there was a bed bug breakout in the facility. Bed bugs, rats, and roaches. And I'm in the middle of this place.
You sat down?
Yeah.
You probably took some home with you.
I don't know, but I was a little, I won't lie to you and tell you that I wasn't nervous, but that's my family. My uncle lives in the Richmond Summit. I was able to get the owners to Augusta to deal with this situation all the way from out west, fumigated the whole building. So, like, you asked about balance. There is no way to balance it. There is no way to divide your attention. But whenever you have people living in terrible conditions, you have to spend a little bit more time there.
Yeah.
And then you still have to deal with the everyday business of the city. So it never turns off. You're always in work mode. I have a full-time job. I have hobbies. You're always in work mode.
So people going to say, oh, you keep bringing them up. But I did watch a video that Ben Hassan just put out recently. And in it, I was trying to get the quote. I just couldn't find the part where he said it, and I couldn't go back. But he mentioned that, you guys' job is it pass policies or something like that, right? Pass policies.
Yep.
But a lot of times, I have to go places that really, that quote unquote aren't your job.
It's not our job. He was
so
talking
you
about
just saying all of that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
Daily operations.
Yeah.
Like, so, and I think I spoke to you. I think it was you I spoke to, and you was like, pretty much like, even with the pay, not that I do it for that, but the pay is for a certain, you're supposed to do something specific.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to take all your time.
Right.
Technically speaking, being a commissioner, I think it's not supposed to take all your time.
No, it's a part-time job.
It's a part-time job.
Right.
And the money is going to stay, it's part-time money.
Money is definitely part-time.
It's part-time money, right?
Yeah.
But it's full-time problems. Yeah. It's full-time fixing. It's full-time physical, have to be there, have to do this.
Right.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how. Or maybe you could tell me, I don't know. It's no extra like bonus y'all could get, no extra structure, no extra I don't know, like, because whatever they set y'all with the money right then and there, so it's no way I can make more than that. It's just that's what it is.
We can, yeah, we can set our own pay.
Oh, okay, so
we
I can
can
make
vote
$100,000. I want to.
Yeah, we could.
Why y'all don't do that?
Hey, I mean,
Well,
that's just not how it works. You know,
how many of y'all is it again?
10,
And it got to be 7 votes, right?
Six.
Six votes.
Yeah.
And if not, then mayor got to step in if y'all on tie
Yeah,
or something
if
like
it's
that.
a tie, 5-5, then the mayor votes. But we can set our own salary. Now the state gave us a pay raise, I think maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
But most of us don't do it for the money. You know, majority of us do it because we care about the city, we care about the county. You know, I probably get about 21 to 22,000 a year, maybe that. Probably actually more, probably about maybe 17,000 a year being a commissioner. Used to be like 12,000. And then you factor in cost of living and then the state increase, you might get like $20,000 a year to do the job.
How can somebody get a full-time job and do this though? Like, how can you work
It's
somewhere
hard.
else?
It's terribly hard, which is why you don't get a lot of young people running for commissioner. If you think about it, most of your commissioners are either retired or they're business owners.
Right.
And honestly, let's think. Right now, you have, most retired and business owners.
So you the
I went
youngest?
full time. I'm the youngest, 30 years old. I was the youngest at 26 when I was elected, youngest of all time.
Oh, clap it up for you. Okay. Black power. I'm talking about.
I feel every second of it.
Youngest of all time.
So yeah, I have a full-time job, and two other commissioners have full-time jobs. I have a realtor. You have a home improvement. He owns his own home improvement business.
Right.
For the most part, most are retired.
So I'm happy you addressed it that way because I'm not gonna lie. For a while, I always thought that it was just like an unspoken thing. Like I felt like it was some way I was getting some money. But some of the commissioners I do know, they do have a business or multiple businesses outside of that. So I can see that. I don't know. I guess because it's America, I'm thinking like, there's no way somebody gonna take this job to, for that amount of money and do that much work.
Yeah.
But I guess it's people do some strange things.
You gotta be special kind of crazy.
Definitely
man,
gotta be special.
Yeah. And somebody asked me that same question. He came to my office and was like, so let's just cut straight to the point. I'm like, what, man? He was like, so, he sat up in his chair like that. He's like, so I done looked up y'all salaries. It ain't no way you doing this for $20,000 a year. Like, how you getting your money? I'm like, whoa, back up.
Hey, backup is crazy.
Whoa. So like, I work full time. I work full time, and I get my commission salary. And you just got to be okay with that. Any other way is illegal. And I don't think I'll do good in nobody's jail. So
yeah, we a lot of us watch The Wire and we watch a lot of Power and all of them.
It's all real. I promise you. It's all real. Councilman Tate is a real person.
Oh my God, that's funny. Oh boy,
it's all real, bro. I'm telling you.
So, I do want to ask you your thoughts on the system right now, as far as like the government system of Augusta right now.
Yeah.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the mayor, the ex-mayor, Deacon Copenhagen, had mentioned, I don't want to say it verbatim, but it was something about it being flawed.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it? Do you think that's accurate? Do you think it's just common for government to be a certain way? Is it such thing as flawed government, unflawed government?
Well, I mean, when is the last time you heard somebody say, man, Congress is doing just such a great job?
Never.
You know why? Because it's government. Government is not it's not church. It's not Sunday school. Government is government. And I think the way that government is structured in general, this whole representative democracy form of government that we have is a great form. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in any type of other form of government, but it has its flaws. I don't know what D. Copenhagen was referring to in general. I know he was probably talking about the mayor.
I don't think nobody does. Honestly.
Hey, I don't know.
I don't think nobody do.
I speak for myself, man. The form of our government. So Augusta's government is a strong commission, wheat mayor form of government. And when the city and the county consolidated in 1996, that's what happened. So back in the day, you had the city of Augusta, which was basically all of the old Augusta, Harrisburg, Laney Walker, Turpin Hill, the avenues, all of that. And then you had Richmond County, which was all of South Augusta, Tobacco Road, Peach Orchard Road, Hepzibah. That was all the county. Well, the city went bankrupt. The mayor, Charles Devaney became the mayor after Ed McIntyre left office. Devaney became the mayor. He was a business owner. He was a handsome guy, from what I was told, very charismatic. But unfortunately, he was not a good mayor. And he bankrupted the city with some of the spending, which is why I'm so hard when it comes down to our city spending, because we've seen our city go bankrupt. And so the county had to bail the city out, basically. So we made one city, Augusta, Richmond County, we consolidated, and the surplus that the county had saved the hole that the city was in.
Mm-hmm.
And the legislature at the time, led by Senator Charles Walker, created our government. And our charter was created as a strong commission, weak mayor system, which basically meant that in order for the government to function, the 5 black commissioners and the 5 white commissioners had to come together to make the decisions, and the mayor only voted in the case of a tie. There wasn't even a city administrator when consolidation happened. The administrator was created after the consolidation bill took place. And the administrator basically handles the day-to-day operations of the city of Augusta. So I don't think that the system is flawed. I think that the people that we've been electing have been flawed. I think that the issue that we have is that you've had commissioners do the job and not really know what the job entails. I'm not being negative, and I'm not trying to be tough and hard on anybody, because I respect those who came before me tremendously. Don't get me wrong. It takes a special kind of strong to do this job. But you've had people running this city doing things for their buddies, for their friends, for their neighbors, for themselves. And you can see the fruit of that because what's around us. You know, somebody told me the other day that Tiger Woods has been coming to Augusta since 1997, and his route from the airport to the golf course hadn't changed. Like, that's almost 30 years ago. So you have to ask yourself, is it the structure of the government that's wrong and that's flawed? Or is it the people that we've been electing? You know?
Yeah.
And I know I'm probably going to catch flack for saying that, but I don't really care. I think the thing is, you need younger people in office, and you need people who understand public policy running the city of Augusta. Because if you don't get that, you're just going to get folks, you know, blowing with the wind, trying to figure out where things go. The out of mind is the devil's playground.
You know, I agree with everything you said too. And if I didn't, I would ask more questions. But I definitely, just to touch back on the ex-mayor, I think sometimes it's tough too to speak from a perspective where you're no longer in that position. Because I don't know if we get that same speech or wording or whatever it was, rhetoric that he gave if he was in office.
Right.
Those are things you say once you're out, once you're no longer a part of it. It's from a standpoint of criticism, but it's to me, as I listen to your take or Ben Hassan's take, or I'll take my own interpretation from it, from what I do know of government, he criticized it's not like one side of a story, you know, like, and it's not even a full explanation. I think when you go on a limb and you start to talk that way, you have to really break it down.
Right.
And I think had he broke it down, it could have been understood or even perceived better. But I don't think it was perceived well by majority of people who are in that field, because y'all know it to be false or to be more to it than just that.
Well, the rhetoric is intentional. They're trying to sell something to a certain segment of voters. And, you know,
I was thinking that perfect time to say that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's election time, you know, like, why can't he say this 2 years ago?
Right.
Why didn't he say it as soon as he left?
Right.
Because he talked about the 90s, so nothing really changed like since then. If we talking about like what happened in 90 something, that happened in 08. It was still happening.
He was the
every
mayor
year.
in 2006, 2007,
Exactly.
2008, he left office in
He
2013.
could have said it any of them times.
You know, and here's okay. So I'm a diplomat, right? I try to be a diplomat.
Oh.
I try to be nice.
I'm thinking about the rap group. Okay.
Oh, no, not the rap.
I thought to say camera.
No, I try not to. I try to have respect for those who came before me, right? And it's easy to do that. They're great people. Like, Deke is a great person. I've met Deke plenty of times, and I think he's a great person. I met all of our mayors before, the ones who are alive, you know, Mayor McIntyre. Right. Even I met McIntyre. So I've met all of the mayors from, you know, the 80s until now, with the exception of Devaney because he passed. You remember when we talked about how we should not be involved in the day-to-day operations?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the commission gets worked up in. Look at it like this. You're the CEO of Walmart. Are you stocking shelves at Walmart?
Definitely not.
No. Are you in the manager's office trying to find
Definitely
out why
not.
Walmart was closed
Definitely not.
or why the trash didn't get taken out?
Oh.
That's what we do. So we're the board of directors for the city of Augusta. We should not be at City Hall trying to find out why the trash hadn't been taken out. That is literally an example of what goes on. Oh, the trash is not taken out of the lobby. Why? What's going on? A commissioner literally sends emails asking questions like that. Your focus is thrown off. Your job is to focus on the strategic growth of the city of Augusta. How to get more people living here. How to get more people making more money in Augusta. How to revitalize the Riverwalk. How to get downtown booming. Not who's not at work today. You'd be surprised if I told you.
That is crazy when you think about it.
Listen, man, we receive a report every month from our city administrator about which department heads are not at work for the month, what days they're going to be out. Like, why is that even important to a county commissioner? Number one, when you have a city administrator who's responsible for talking to those department heads. So again, I don't think the system is flawed. The system works. The system absolutely works. But when you have people in the day-to-day operations, instead of looking at Augusta from the sky view, you're going to get what you have.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's what we've had since 96. Not all commissions, of course. Not all commissions. You've had some really good commissions over the last 30 plus years, but you've also had some pretty bad ones too.
You know, and I watch sports and I believe in team basketball. And I know that for certain things to happen or for certain things to be successful, it's always a bunch of moving parts. Mm-hmm. And usually them parts got to move in alignment, with each other. So you think of it being 10 commissioners. Well, you can't have 3 really good ones and 7. Mm-hmm. That's not going to make for a good team effort,
Right.
And I know we talked last time about even the voting. I know that's even amongst politics, that voting is political in itself.
Oh, absolutely.
And I ain't going to get into that. I think you had a good segment on that last time, so I don't really get into that too much.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, so even you saying, it's not necessarily the job or it's not in the job description per se. So is it safe for somebody like you or like another commissioner, whoever, that does go about their daily operations and they are touching the land, they are touching the people, they are returning phone calls, they still doing the regular stuff, just the passing policies? That's a lot for one subject where that's not even accounted for to be in the job.
Oh yeah. It's extra, right?
That's what it sounds like. But it's somebody that said, well, this person didn't do nothing. It's like, well, hold up.
Right.
This is the job. This is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
This is what I did.
I think everybody gets in office with good intention, right? And I said that there were some pretty bad commissioners, probably a handful, right? But everybody comes in office with good intention. Everybody want to do a good job. Everybody want to change the district. And once you get in it and you finally learn what the bathrooms are, you get bombarded with the way of the commission, the day-to-day stuff, the fires that you have to put out every single day. And if you turn your attention to putting out those fires, you're going to forget about the community. You're going to forget about what's going on. And it's so easy to get caught up in that. It's so easy. So I don't say those things to be negative or rude.
Yeah.
I say it just to simply say, you have some really good elected officials. Francine Scott, great commissioner. Stacey Pulliam, Sean Franham, Brandon Garrett, Tony Lewis.
Shout out to Tony.
Those guys are great commissioners, great elected officials. And even if I didn't call some names, they're still great elected officials. Like I'm not.
I was going to say that. You named 10 names now. So.
Well, I don't want nobody to say, he didn't say my name. Listen, y'all are good commissioners. I would say this, but I called you Bobby just then.
It's all good.
I'll say this, man. The commissioners that we have right now, we got a really good group of commissioners now. I think this is probably one of the best classes I've ever been a part of. We have 10 commissioners with 10 different personalities, 10 different flavors, 10 different everything.
I love it.
This is a really good commission.
I love it.
Really good commission. So if I didn't call any of my colleagues' names that I work with now, I just gave them their kudos. This is a really good commission.
And the next time you want to pass something, just say yes and vote for it. Hey, you know what I'm saying? That's all.
That's it.
That's it. Get your name called out. There you go. But that's just funny
vote
because
on the items that I put on the agenda next time.
I always say this, man. It's like and people, we all do it like without knowing. It's like you start to name stuff. And I'm like, hold on, let me not say that because I might forget somebody. Not on purpose. I might just not be thinking about the person.
Yeah.
And then it's like, damn, I done caught myself up. Now I got to start naming names. I don't want to, this person. Everybody, matter of fact, so you got to do that sometimes.
I name the ones that I work with most.
Right.
I work with Stacey Pulliam a lot. I work with Francine Scott a lot.
Shout out to Stacey. She's supposed to come on a podcast at some point. We met when the mayor was doing that thing up the street.
Mm-hmm. She's a rock star, man.
She's cool.
Stacey Pulliam is a rock star.
Does she do real estate? I'm not mistaken.
She does real estate. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like when you're a freshman, what they typically tell you is you come in, you be quiet, and you just learn.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that ain't Stacey Pulliam. That was not Tony Lewis. That wasn't
I know
myself.
It ain't Tony.
Oh no.
I know it ain't Tony.
No, Tony ain't gonna be quiet
at all.
Tony gonna tell you how you feel.
I'm trying to tell you.
But that's what you need down there. I wasn't like that. Francine Scott wasn't like that. So I work with Bobby Williams, and I work with them on an everyday basis, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, there are some commissioners that I don't work with as much as I work with the other ones. But all 10 great elected officials. We have our moments. But I love this. I like this class. I really do enjoy working with them.
So, again, like I always say, now, I always try to revert back to something I know because people that's watching it, they might want to know. Like I say, a lot like retail too. So in retail, you could be a assistant manager or whatever, but you be over different areas. So y'all might go back and forth because something that somebody else doing in their area is affecting your area. So y'all might go back and forth, but it's not personal. It's just like, hey, that's affecting my business.
Right.
So I need y'all not to do that.
Right.
So it seems like it's conflict or it's confliction there, but it's not. It's just addressing and moving forward from there. So
most of us are in that position. It's just like a straight business. Now some is personal.
Well, we get to see y'all. On speed. First of all, I want to start, Bill. As a constituent, I don't know. As a constituent, those are some long meetings. I'm not gonna lie. So it's super hard to watch. And I've tried sometimes. Ben Hill send me and watch. I'm like, hey Ben, clip this up. Tell me the timestamps. I don't have 4 hours.
Right.
I don't know how they have 4 hours. All these. That's why I'm missing phone calls right there. The meeting's too long.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to do it like more than once a week, I guess, and like break it up because that's a long meeting.
We do it 4 times a month. So so we have 2 committee meetings a month. So this is how it should work, right? You have 2 committee meetings a month. You have Engineering Services Committee, which is all things construction, grass cutting, all that maintenance stuff, pothole filling, that's all engineering services. Trash pickup, you have Public Services. Public Services is alcohol license, parks and recreation, those kind of things. You have Administrative Services, which is your HR department, procurement department, all of those internal type of things. Housing is on the Administrative Services agenda. You have the Finance Committee, which I'm the chair of, just the money, right?
Yeah.
And then you have public safety, which is, of course, public safety. So we meet and we go through hundreds of items. And whatever passes through those committees, like whatever makes it out of the committee, goes to the full commission meeting, and it makes it to what we call the consent agenda. Okay. Which basically said, if we talked about it last Tuesday, we ain't talking about it today.
Okay, gotcha.
Sometimes commissions will pull things off of the consent agenda that we talked about last Tuesday. They want to talk about it again.
They didn't talk about it for a week now. They got a better plan now, so they want to talk about it now.
Don't get me started, man. Because as soon as you said that, stuff started popping up in my head, and I ain't trying to get in trouble. But the meetings are long. Yeah, they are very long. But the commission meetings, though, they're typically shorter.
Right.
About 2 hours. Like today, we ended at about 4. They were at about 4:30. Started at 2, got out about 4:30.
Yeah.
Committee days, we're there at 11. We don't get out to about 5. But from 11 o'clock until 1 o'clock is all legal. We're in a quiet session, a private session, which we're dealing with all of our legal stuff.
Gotcha.
And then from 1 o'clock until about 5, it's committees.
So I guess 12 to 1 is lunch or something?
Oh, we eat, yeah. That's why this is right here. And we be eating all kinds of food back there.
That's funny.
But I didn't kind of slow down on the eating because I'm trying to, it's summertime, I got to get my back.
Trying to get to somebody right? You got to go on the beach?
Get my back down a little bit,
You got a wide back.
Hey, man, you know how that goes. Rest in peace to our backs.
I do want to, I meant to say something about earlier because you said it, and I'm pretty sure you talked with the mayor and y'all talk. So does he ever take that offensive when it says, I forgot the term you, but you said something, strong
commission, weak mayor?
Yeah. Is that offensive or is that just the system?
It's just a system. That's what it's called.
Okay.
If you Google it, it's literally called strong commission or strong council, weak mayor system. And basically what that means is that the legislative authority lies within the commission. It's no different than the president in Congress, right? The president cannot do anything unless they get congressional approval, right? Same thing with the commission. The mayor cannot do a single thing in this city without getting approval through the commission. People say, well, how does the commission have more power than the mayor? We don't. We don't. The mayor is actually one of the 10 commissioners. But the difference is he guides the meetings and he votes in the case of a tie. The president doesn't get to vote in Congress. Like if Congress comes to a stalemate, Joe Biden doesn't go to Capitol Hill and cast a vote. The vice president gets opportunity to break a tie, right?
Damn.
But that's just how that system goes. The power that the mayor has lies within the relationships that mayor builds with the commission.
That makes sense.
That's just how that goes.
I wonder that I was speaking from a point of like, if I'm the mayor, like how would I feel about that? When I heard,
You'd be a good mayor.
I would?
Yeah,
think so?
I think so.
Might have a new career, who knows? I can speak a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I handle pressure well, so that might be good. I don't like being weak though. I don't want to be called weak. I'll probably get my feelings. I'm like, hey, don't say weak, man.
No, it's only called weak because the power does not lay in the mayor's office.
It's nothing personal there. It's just
no.
Okay, I got you.
That's the name of the system.
That makes sense.
That's actually what it's called.
Okay, that makes sense.
No, I would never call him weak.
But I'm pretty sure he knew that going in.
Huh?
Going in, he knew that was the system going in. So
yeah, they all knew that. They all knew it. If you want all that kind of power, just be a commissioner. But people look at the commission as being just a commissioner. The commissioner. The job of a county commissioner is probably one of the most important jobs in this community. I think the district attorney is probably the most powerful person in the city.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
He's on a podcast. Shout out to me for having him on a podcast. Clap it up for me.
Hey, look, the district attorney can arrest anybody in this city. Anybody, right? So the DA is probably one of the most powerful people in the city. The commissioners sets all of the government's budget. So that's where our power comes from. Like the sheriff, the marshal, the DA, the judges. We got to make those decisions.
See, it's important to listen in social studies when they talk about checks and balances and stuff like that. I like that. Like you see it growing up. Like, sometimes people say, well, you never use Y equal MX plus B, which is false. But they say you never use that in life. But really, like the politics and social studies, you use a lot.
How do you use Y equals MX plus B?
Me? How I feel like that? Okay.
No, because I really want to know. Because somebody said that. And my old math teacher, shout out to Melvin Dukes. I had to look in the camera and talk to Melvin Dukes. He used to call himself, he used to say that he was your favorite teacher's favorite teacher.
Hey, he sound like a rapper. That's what rappers say. Rappers say that.
Duke's a good dude.
I like that though.
But he was trying to tell us how you use Y equals MX plus B.
Okay, so I give an example. Okay. If I had to give an example, it'd be like this. So you're trying to find out what Y is, right? So it's a problem.
Yeah.
It could be how I'm going to pay this bill. Well, that's MX plus B. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the variables, like, so you're going to put whatever the slope is. So if you got this amount of money or you got this person you can call. To our friends the other day, right? You got this friend you can phone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If whatever you do outside, you work, get an extra job, you can do this, you can do that.
Whatever gets you to Y.
That you add to that equation. You know what I'm saying? That's the X, that's the variable. Whatever you're going to do differently is the variable. So you multiply what you got versus what you're going to do, plus, the B is in whatever, whatever you're going to be, and then that equals Y. So it's like, it's just, it's
mind blown,
it's not in a sense of math, it's a sense of like, that's the equation. You might feel like, oh, how I'm going to eat today?
Yeah.
Y plus B. How you going to eat today?
I got you.
That's why. The why is how.
How do you figure the equation out?
Yeah. So
okay, I feel you.
That's all.
I literally want to know because like he said it on Facebook.
Yeah,
and I never looked at his answers.
Every day in life.
I feel
how I'm gonna get gas today? How I'm gonna pay this phone bill? How I'm gonna get in touch with Jordan Johnson? He answer the phone. I'm gonna add him on Facebook.
Message me on Facebook.
And I've seen him do that plenty of times. They done, hey, Jordan Johnson.
Check your inbox.
And he come under there. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, I think that's what it is more than anything. Because you're just trying to find a slope on a graph to get to where you get to.
Yeah.
It's coordinates.
Yeah.
Same thing in life. It's coordinating. How I'm going to get this. How I'm going to do it. How I'm going to do that. You just coordinating.
That's why I like you, man. That's why I like you.
Hey, I try. I be trying a little bit, man. Clap at me one time. I be trying a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
But yeah, so that's all it is. So you do use it. But I do got some questions about, I want to ask you, like, as far as your, let's talk about some things you did in your first term, like so far. Like, give me some pros, some cons, like more pros though, obviously. In your first term, what's some things you're proud of? Things you want to continue doing next term?
Yeah. So one of the first things that I did once I got elected was we formed the homeless task force. I was able to get the commission to agree to form a homeless task force, and basically what that is was we were able to get service providers, those organizations and agencies that helps our homeless population. We were able to get them to the table for the first time in 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, literally, there was a homeless task force formed back in 2020, 2004. I don't know what I was about to say, but 2004, the plan was passed. And in 2005, it just kind of went away. So between 2005 to 2021, I think that's 13 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing had happened. So we created the homeless task force. Through that homeless task force, we were able to pass the tiny home ordinance, which I was instrumental in writing, literally like pen to paper. That tiny home ordinance is paving the way for our very first tiny home village. As a matter of fact, today the commission passed the very first, we approved the construction of the very first tiny home village in Augusta. It took 4 tries to get that ordinance passed, right?
Yeah.
We were able to pass a blight ordinance.
Can I ask one question real quick though?
Yeah.
When you said a tiny homes ordinance, like who could benefit from that?
So the idea behind the whole tiny home ordinance was the whole idea behind the tiny home ordinance was that housing is just too expensive right now. It's way too expensive. And if the city had other alternatives for housing, maybe that would contribute to lower costs for rent, lower costs to buy a home.
Okay.
I mean, everybody can't afford a single family home. Everyone can't afford a house in a nice subdivision, but maybe you can afford a tiny home. And so I went to the table with our planning department and some other agencies, and we created this ordinance that allowed folks to build tiny homes, just like what you would see on like HGTV or
Right.
you know, anywhere like that. Tiny Home Nation, I think is what one of the shows were called. But
Okay.
this particular tiny home village that we're getting ready to build, I say we, but the city is not building it. Dr. Jackson Drumgoole is building it with Bridge Builders Community. It's going to be 25 tiny homes for youth aging out of the foster system. And you can take this model and apply it to any segment of our community, veterans, teachers, homeless, doesn't matter. We have villages, a village concept written in our ordinance that would allow people to be able to have a different way of affording housing in a time where housing is just way too expensive. Rent is too expensive, and to buy a home is too expensive.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to ask. I know you do a lot anyway, so that's not even a thing. But how is it? Because you spoke about this earlier about commissioners not doing this. What about your past makes you so? I'm trying to see the word. I want to say, because you like a go-getter, because you always everywhere, right? So what about like your upcoming makes that the norm for you? Because it seems the norm. Because when I first met you, like in person, I remember you came from like 4 or 5 meetings. You drove to somebody's house. Mind you, this is how long I've been doing this.
Yeah.
Came to my house after y'all won something. You won something that day,
Yeah.
that night. You came there to talk about it. Left there and talked to someone else. So I'm like, dang, he doing all this running around in one day. But that's what I know you for. Has that helped you, like in the commissioner sense, because y'all do a lot of running around, a lot of sitting on couches doing this? Like, does that help you at all? And if somebody doesn't have that kind of background, is this something that they may need to reconsider?
No, I don't think they need to reconsider it because you can learn it. I mean, you're going to have to being a commissioner. I don't think that there's anything in my past that really led me to be this way. I just live my life off of one principle, and that is scripture. We must work while it's day, for when night cometh, no man can work. We don't have much time. And I don't mean that in the sense of, 24 hours in a day, although that is true. I mean that in general.
Yeah.
My tomorrow is not promised. I feel like God has given me a unique opportunity at a young age to be able to impact lives, right? To be able to impact public policy, to help people. And I don't take that lightly. I could drop tomorrow. And when I get to the gates and
God
he
forbid.
asked me,
God forbid.
yeah, God forbid,
Okay.
God forbid. But I want to be able to answer the question when he asked me, what did you do? I want to be able to say, hey, I was able to do this for somebody. I was able to do that for somebody in your name, of course. You don't have a lot of time to get that done. So I do what I do because I want to make sure that what I've signed up for gets done, right? You asked what I did in my first term. We passed the blight ordinance. We passed the tiny home ordinance. We have cigar lounges in the city to this day because I went to the drawing board and went up against big organizations to pass a smoking ordinance. We made Payne College a historic district so that the hospitals and the big universities can't take the campus over. We put in measures to build 400 plus new affordable housing units. Like we've done so much work. And I say we because I don't do it alone. I just figure I'm not guaranteed a second term. I'm not guaranteed a second chance. I think there's a philosophy that says that procrastination is arrogance, that you're going to be afforded an opportunity tomorrow to do what you should have done today. And I just don't like to go to bed with the idea that I just procrastinated on something. But I don't think that came from anything other
like
than
that quote.
just knowing that you have a job to do. Just
Yeah.
do it.
Is it because I could not sense it now, but because you reap of confidence to me. But like, is it ever nervous knowing that? Because like you could do so much good, but is it nervousness knowing like it's a possibility that it might not be a second term for
Yeah.
for someone?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't ever want to get to the point to where I think that my path is just automatically there. Everything that I have, I worked hard for, man. Every opportunity I've gotten came straight from God. And I'm a shepherd of that. I have to maintain that. It's not something that I take for granted. So yeah, there are times when I don't feel as confident in what I'm doing. There's sometimes when I don't get everything passed. There's been times where I put items on the agenda and they fail, which is why you see some of them pictures that I put on Facebook of my facial expressions at the meetings. It's a tough job. So I never take for granted the job that I have, but again, it is a very overwhelming realization that there are people who you don't know, that you probably will never meet, but they're depending on you for something. Like,
that's deep. That's deep.
Try to go to sleep at night with that on your mind.
That's deep.
It's tough, and maybe that's a very unrealistic way of looking at this job. I don't know, but when somebody's calling you, and literally, like I got a call once, and a lady was on the other end screaming about getting evicted. Her things were being thrown out right then and there. I couldn't do nothing about it, man. Couldn't do nothing about it.
I could ask you. I could ask a bunch of commissioners, and y'all like give me the right definition of what a commissioner is, what they do, or what the job requires. But really, if I want to say it in short, it's a commissioner really deals with everybody, their constituents' livelihoods on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
When you put it that way, it's like it's a little deeper than just I do this, I do this. It's somebody's livelihood.
It's deeper than put on a suit and going to a meeting.
Definitely.
The calls that you get can range from people needing grass cut or somebody needing a job. Like I had a call. I was in DC. I was in New York 2 weeks ago, and I received a phone call from a senior citizen who called and asked me, could I help her grandson get a job because he sells dope right now, and she's afraid that he's going to get killed one day. And this is like an 80-something-year-old woman asking me to help her grandson. Now, I don't know if I can ever get that young man a job. Like if y'all are hiring and you're watching this video, like hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that she even thought that calling me could do something about that puts an enormous sense of responsibility on you.
Yeah.
And I'm in New York City at the time. Like, you can't do much from New York City.
You're right.
So I think just understanding that you can't just sit home and eat chips all day is what keeps me going. There's people that need you. And if you don't answer that call, then what did you run for office for? And that's what frustrates me so much about certain elected officials. Like, you have the job. What are you doing with it? Do something. And I'm not saying that I do everything, because we all have flaws, but this job is not one that you should take lightly.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's ever gonna be, and I don't think that ever is expected to be a perfectly ran government.
No.
That's like a what's the word? I can't think of it right now. It's hit my tongue, but it's like it's two opposites.
Yeah.
Government is nothing perfect about it.
Right.
The reason why it's there because things aren't perfect.
Right.
So it's kind of like you kind of gotta just do the best you can.
Do the best you can.
Give your best shot.
Yeah.
So what kind of qualities should a person possess who was interested in holding a public office like now? So like what kind of qualities should they possess, whether it be a commissioner or just anything public office wise that like what kind of qualities does this individual, man or woman, need or should possess in order to kind of be successful, or at least get some of the job done,
Well, I think one of the biggest things is integrity, right? You have to have integrity because I was always told that on this journey, you're going to be met by a devil in a tailored suit, right? And you have to be able to navigate when you meet that devil in a tailored suit. take that however you want to take it.
That's dope. I mean, that's I like that.
But it's integrity. Like, you got to have it. You've got to have integrity, because without it, you'll get caught up, and whatever good intention you had will just go down the drain. So that's one. You have to be able to be honest about whatever the situation is. There's some things that we're just not allowed to talk about, but things that you can talk about, be truthful with the people. I think the people have been lied to long enough. They already don't trust the government. Like, don't contribute to that. I think another one is having empathy. Like, you have to have empathy towards people, because you're going to be dealing with people all day, every day. They call you at 2:00 in the morning. Like, you're going to be dealing with people. So you got to have empathy. You have to be able to put yourself in their position. You got to put yourself in their shoes. You have to be willing to walk a mile in their shoes. You got to meet them where they are. And I think maybe another quality, if I had to name three, I would say integrity, empathy. And I would probably just say you have to be willing to remain humble and be coachable, be teachable, because we don't know everything. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've had to be coached, that I've had to just swallow things and say, you know what, you got it. How many cities I've had to go to try to learn about things to bring it back to Augusta. Like, you have to be coachable. You have to remain humble. You have to know that everybody don't know your name, so don't get cocky. Because if you get cocky, then that makes way for your integrity to be compromised, which eliminates your ability to have empathy. Like, you won't be successful, and not successful in the sense of, oh, I got this done, but successful in the sense that, I walked through this landmine. I didn't step on any mines, but looking back in the process, I was able to help people on the way too.
I like that. I like that perspective.
It's a pretty tough thing to do because they're everywhere.
You mentioned something, and now, when you talk, sometimes I get extra questions, so excuse me, but
I try to keep it short.
What does it mean to what is success in your field? Now, is success a second term? Is success multiple terms? Is success the things you get done, the people you inspire, the people you influence, the decisions you make? Like, what is success in as a commissioner or in the public office?
I think for me, success is knowing that if somebody has a concern, no matter how big or small it is, that I'm able to at least address it, right? We completed a $6 million drainage project in East Augusta. East Augusta's been flooded for the past 50 years. Put $6 million in the ground in East Augusta to fix that issue. That's success in my mind. We were able to pave 12 roads in Sand Hills. Sand Hills has been, hadn't had roads paved since, from what neighbors tell me, in 50 years. Like, that's success. It's a small win, but it's a big win to them. I think a success that I cannot wait to assess one day is seeing another young person in office. Like, I remember,
you speak about that a lot, so I know that's something you want. You push for that a lot too.
I need to see it, man. I've got to see it. Got to see it. The hell that I went through. Let's just be real. The hell that I went through as a 25 or 26-year-old running for political office, man, I'm not saying that I broke a glass ceiling or kicked down a barrier. I'm not saying any of those things. But what I am saying is I never wanted to how can I say this, man? Let me see if I can figure it out. I knew that if we were going to have younger people in this government, I couldn't be out here acting a fool. Like, I had to be able to show that young people can do this.
Yeah.
And I've got to see it. Tyreke Robinson, he beat me. God rest him. And I was so proud to see Tyreke Robinson become the youngest elected official in this city. Unfortunately, he never took office. Yeah. But young people have a place in this government. And I think that's going to be the ultimate success for me, man. I want to see more young people in government. I want to see more 20-somethings and 30-somethings run for political office. Take that sacrifice in pay. Take that sacrifice in time and really build this city up. The things that we want to see in other cities, we can have it right here in Augusta, but we're not going to get it with the same crop of people that we just keep recycling through.
That makes sense.
Like, you've been all over this country. I've been all over this country. People that's watching this video have been all over this country and have seen things work. Bring that stuff to Augusta.
Yeah.
And I think once we see a young commission, man, I don't want to be 50 and 60 and 70 to see it. Like, let's do it now.
Yeah.
Break my 26-year record now. Like, I think that that's what the city is missing, man. We need young people at the table.
But I think too, because the norm has always been older people.
Yeah,
I don't know if young people think they can even go for that.
man, you can do it.
I think, we always talk about how, most people, or most of your constituents, they look at the higher level of government as that's
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
And because, you got to be, I think, 35 years old to run for president, right?
Yeah,
I listen to some studies, I did listen, shout out to me, But I think sometimes they think it's age limits on the other offices as well now,
Mhm.
because you know that one president, 35.
yeah,
So in their mind, like, I get possible to get older.
yeah.
But because they don't see a bunch of Jordan Johnsons, it's probably not an idea to them that they can do this at 20, whatever,
Yeah.
fresh
be
out of
18
here.
and run for
Yeah,
commissioner.
fresh out of high school, fresh out of
Yeah.
college. So I think that's part of it too. Like that's not the norm.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't think that's a thing.
It's tough. I mean, and if you don't really have a real passion for it, I don't suggest that you do it because the old guard will absolutely put up a defense against you.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. That's
When I
anywhere
ran
you
in
go.
2020, man, it was 5 of us in the race. 5 of us. And some of the people that were running were supported by some of the biggest names in the city. Had somebody, I could go into detail about it, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Not going to. But the point is, if you have passion and you have to drive, man, do it.
Yeah.
Like, put your name on that dotted line. Like, even right now, it's 4 people running against me now. And, they still say, oh, he's just too young. What? Like, I can have a gray hair on my chin. Like, young people can do this. And I know that we can do it because it's been done, not just with me, but all over this country. Augusta is in a prime position. And I think the only thing we really need are young folks with good ideas to really take the wheel and go.
You've done some work with the homeless task force, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How successful were y'all?
Well, when we created the homeless task force, our intention was to create it so that we could create a strategic plan to make sure that homelessness was brief, that it was rare, and that it was non-reoccurring. And we created the plan, we passed it, and what you're seeing now are some of those strategies coming to fruition. So we created a street outreach team.
Yeah, okay.
Typically, what you would think is that if someone who is homeless, they need help, they would come to the city to get the help. Well, the city is actually going to them. We're going into the encampments. We're going into the woods.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we
Makes
got to
a lot
go where
more
they
sense,
are.
actually.
You got to get some people with some boots on,
Yeah.
going out into the woods, offering services. We've received some money from the federal government to build a day center. And it's just my intention, or my thought, that if you have somewhere for our homeless brothers and sisters to go, many of which are my constituents, they live in District 1, whether that's under a bridge or in a shelter. If they have a day center to go to where they can get help with whatever issue that they're dealing with, whether that's employment, addiction, whatever, job skills, trainings, they need a place to go. They can apply for housing there, so many different things. So we're going to be building a day center. But we need to move a little bit. We need to move a little bit deeper into that, faster and deeper, because you won't solve homelessness without providing some type of housing for those who are experiencing homelessness.
Right.
So whether that's tiny homes or apartments or whatever, expanding the voucher system, we have to do more. So I think that we've done a lot of good over the last 3.5, 4 years because, number one, when we created the task force, I was the founding chairman. When we created the task force, we knew that it was going to be a struggle to even do anything because it's such a complicated issue. But I think looking forward to the next 4 years, man, we're going to be breaking ground on so many projects for our brothers and sisters that's experiencing homelessness. I think it's going to be great. We're also working with the Single Family Resource Center, the Single Parent Resource Center out of Atlanta. And that's getting single mothers out of these hotels. Like the buses are going to hotels to pick kids up.
Yeah.
Like, let's get them out of the hotels and into housing. Nobody should have to live in a hotel. So I'm pretty satisfied so far with that progress.
Well, I like that. And I think like how my line of questioning, I try to word it and do things is, so, and I'm still going to ask you anyway towards the end, but I don't like to be so blunt, but like, hey, why should we vote for you again? I feel like this first hour just talking is like you didn't said it with different things. This is why. Knowledge. I know my history. I know this. I speak this way. I'm fluent in this. We've accomplished this. Well, I didn't accomplish this, but I know that I made that mistake there, but I fixed it there. So it's like certain things I just feel like when somebody's speaking, you take from that.
Yeah.
So whereas you have to do the work anyway. Some vote for me.
Right.
But you've been doing it 4 years now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if these speeches I'm gonna give ain't hitting like you want, look at the work I put in.
Yeah.
Let's continue that.
Yeah.
So I do like
the
that.
changes that you can see.
Definitely, and changes everything. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of that's the magic word in politics.
Change.
You know,
Talk about it, but we've been making it, and I'm satisfied. You know, satisfied enough to be able to want to continue on. You know, we're not, like I said, we didn't hit every nail on the head, but you know, we're getting.
And nobody ever does though. Nobody goes. Well, you know, when somebody does do it, we applaud it and we like, oh, let's save it because it can happen. People maybe they don't have no incomplete passes in the game. Somebody missed a 3-pointer at a game. We applaud it because it doesn't happen.
Right.
Everybody's human. Everybody misses sometimes. They make it sometimes. So.
Right.
But speaking of change, how has the local political climate changed since you've been in office?
Well, let me think.
Whenever somebody do the sniff, you know, it's like they want to say something, but it's like, let's see how we going. No.
That's allergies, man. That's straight allergies. I think the political climate has shifted a little bit. We have a new mayor, of course. I don't think the climate has shifted so much to where it's different than what it was when I first got elected.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Augusta is becoming a little bit more progressive. Like I think
100%. I can see that.
I think some of the things that wouldn't have flied, that wouldn't have been able to happen in 2018 can easily happen today.
Yeah.
Like for instance, the smoking ordinance, the cigar lounge ordinance. Augusta banned indoor smoking in like 2016 or 17 or something like that. We came right around in 21 and was like, nope, that's outdated. Yeah. The Sunday sales alcohol stuff, where you can't serve on certain times on Sundays, like that's getting ready to change.
Okay.
I think this entertainment district where you can like drink outside, open container in Augusta. Yeah, like let's do it. I think Augusta become a little bit more progressive. You're seeing more festivals. You're seeing like Juneteenth and all these different type of things happening in the city that normally you just wouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
But I think it's contributing to the culture that we're creating. Like every city has its own culture.
Definitely,
right?
definitely.
But I think Augusta is starting to finally get its own feel, and we're accepting it.
Yeah, but I see it. I see it. I do want to say, because you mentioned the entertainment district. So who can benefit from that entertainment district?
Everybody, man. Everybody. That's one thing that I think Augusta's missing. If we had an entertainment district, that would set us up. That would just set us up, man. So here's my thoughts around that. When you go downtown and you want to go out, like what street are you going to? Broad Street.
Broad Street, yeah.
You're going to Broad Street. So let's market Broad Street as Broad Street, all right? Let's not say let's go downtown. Let's say let's go to Broad. Let's go down to Broad Street. Broad Street would be your entertainment district.
Mm-hmm.
Between certain blocks, clubs could stay open later. You can have open container.
Okay.
The rules would just be a little bit different.
It's actually a district, so to
Yes.
speak. Like really from this side to this side, from Broad and 6th to
Right.
13th or something.
Right.
In this parameter.
Our goal is to use Broad Street, Reynolds Street, and 7th Street, 8th Street, and the James Brown Arena as being our entertainment district.
Okay, that section.
Yeah.
I like that.
So if you're at a concert and you want to walk the farmhouse or you want to walk the Garden City, you want to walk to the scene, walk to the scene. Let's go. You got a cut from the concert. Ain't nobody gonna bother you. Go and do what you got to do. But we need to go a step further. The depot, the big piece of property at the Riverwalk that used to be gravel, that used to not been paved, that would be a perfect location for an entertainment zone. What am I talking about? In Charlotte, you have the Epicenter.
Yeah.
In Austin, Texas, you have the Domain. In New York, you have Hudson Yards. In Atlanta, you're getting ready to get the project outside of the arena out there, where you have a bunch of clubs, retail, housing, shopping, everything in one location. That would be perfect right there, and it will overlook the river. We just had a conversation today about getting with the people who own the property along the Riverwalk to build up on the Riverwalk, maybe like a pier where there are some shops or some restaurants. Like that's the type of entertainment district and zone that we're talking about, connecting the 5th Street Bridge to all of this somehow too.
I like that. It sounds beautiful.
How do you have an area that's just straight pedestrian, straight fun, where people are outside, they're hanging out, people playing live music. You might have some big screens outside, LED screens. Just a nice, fun place. I think it'll help with law enforcement because everybody be in one place. Like, I think that's what Augusta's missing. I mean, you can only go to the movies so much, right?
Yeah.
You can only walk the Riverwalk so much.
And in that area, is that also in your district as well? Wow.
Yeah. All of that. All of downtown is my district.
You got the bread and butter. To people like me.
Yeah.
To people like me, that's I'm gonna keep it that way. People
It's
like me.
something else. You feel like you gotta make the butter and make the bread.
Oh, definitely, yeah. From scratch. It's soul
But
food.
It's fun, man. It definitely. Cleaning the greens, man. But no, really, it's good. And we're fixing the infrastructure. Like the city is doing a $38 million project. I think it's around $38 million. Where we're going to be fixing the streets. We're going to be fixing the flooding downtown. We're going to be fixing the parking up. The James Brown statue is going to get an upgrade. So like we're moving in the right direction, which is why I keep saying that people that's watching this podcast and other young people have got to get involved and just really know what's going on with the city. Because yes, the climate is changing. The political piece of it is, but man, there's so much positive going on that we need to be involved with.
Well, when I said a climate change too, I think what I've seen more than anything in the last couple of years, and kind of even when you got in, is like the people in the office seem more reachable.
Mm-hmm.
Not even on a phone call basis. I mean, like seeing y'all, like these events, weekly events or monthly events that they're being hosted, and you can touch and see and shake the hand of the mayor.
Right.
Not being scared to be in public,
Right.
and think you're gonna get ambushed with questions, because mostly it's just love. It's like,
Right.
they just want to see y'all.
Right.
I think that's also part of the progressiveness, because it's events. They bring your family out,
Right.
bring your kids out. The kid can say, just like you, oh, I know the mayor. I seen the mayor. They go to school, say, I seen the mayor. You really couldn't do that when you was younger like that.
No.
It wasn't like you just they would come to your school here and there, but
That's about it.
no, yeah,
Like you couldn't go
it's
to
very
Riverwalk and
controlled
see 'em.
environment.
Yeah.
It's no you outside, no control.
Right.
Somebody can run up to you and push if they want to, but they choose to give you a handshake, talk to you, how you doing, take a picture,
Right.
put you on their Snapchat or whatever.
Yeah.
That's progressive. I do like that. I've seen
Yeah.
that more in the last couple years, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you one question. Speaking of the mayor, and it's nothing bad, but it's just I have to ask this question though. But the mayor
laughed.
asking for your
You just laughed. I don't feel confident in nothing you about to say. You laugh before you ask the question.
I laugh because I spoke to a few people, and this was a common question to ask, right?
Oh, so here it
And I
comes.
wondered if you was gonna address it while you, because some question that I was gonna ask you, you just spoke on it, so I didn't have to ask the question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well that was easy. Nothing was petty, or nothing was like complex. It was just, even with the Ben Hassan video, it was mentioned in there, and it was about the mayor asking for a vote on the commission. So I need to speak about that. 'Cause people could ask me to ask you. I didn't know what content to ask you. I don't know what it meant.
Yeah.
So what was that about?
So I'm not going to be voting to give the mayor a vote on the commission. I won't be
Okay.
supporting that. Because of the process that the mayor went about asking for the vote
A vote on what though?
on the commission.
Okay.
On every item. As of right now, the mayor only votes during the event of a tie. So
Okay.
if nobody can come up to an agreement, 5-5, nothing passes, the mayor gets to break the tie in whatever favor, right? But he wants to vote regardless if there's a tie or not. I won't be supporting that, not because I don't think the mayor deserves a vote. I just think that the process in which he went about doing this was wrong. The mayor took office January of 2021. By February of 2021, he was asking for a vote. The problem that I have with this is when he submitted a resolution to the state legislature, the House and the Senate, he sent the resolution that had not gone through the commission. Like, first of all, if you pass a resolution, it has to be voted on by the commissioners, period. Not because the commissioners are bullies and we're the big bad dogs. No, that's process. That is law.
Is that paper that has the seal on it saying
Yeah.
that y'all okay.
Yeah. So whenever you have a resolution, the commission agrees to the language on that resolution. We, the Augusta Commission, wants our mayor to have a vote, such and such and such and such. All of our names will be on the resolution. If you agree to it, we sign it. After we sign it, The clerk of our commission will certify it. The mayor would sign it. Then she would certify it. Then we would send it off. The legal department would create the resolution. None of that happened here. Instead, what happened is the mayor got with the West Augusta commissioners and some of the South Augusta commissioners, maybe 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he left 5 of the black commissioners out of the equation.
Mm.
We knew nothing about it. As a matter of fact, I was sitting down and having lunch with him, or having dinner with him. And I asked him straight up, are you going to be going to Atlanta to ask for a vote? No, I don't know. And not even 30 minutes later, the news dropped that he had already sent the resolution to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
To make things worse, he sent it to the Republicans in Atlanta. You know how I feel about Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, he did not ask our state senator. He did not ask our state representatives. And it's not black or white, but let's just be honest with it. None of the black commissioners minus 1 were at the table, which means you left more than half of the black community out of the equation. The black legislators didn't even engage them in any of the conversation, but you went to the Republicans on the commission and you went to the Republicans in the legislature to get things done. And there was already talk about him giving $25,000 to Brian Kemp and things like that. It just concerns me, right?
Right.
Why now? And that's what Deke was talking about when he said the form of government is flawed, the mayor needs to vote. What that would do if the mayor of Augusta had a vote, and I'm not just talking about Garnett Johnson.
Just in general.
Yeah, because
what was in that seat?
Yeah. I like Garnett. And I told him that to his face. I don't know if he believed it or not, but I love Garnett Johnson. I like him. I think he's a good businessman. He's made a hell of a living for himself. This ain't personal. This has nothing to do with Garnett Johnson, the man. Because quite frankly, what he's doing with the Food Truck Friday, no mayor has ever done that before.
That's what I was talking about.
Like, that's dope.
Yeah.
And he should be proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should be proud of that. But he shouldn't be proud about how he went about asking for this vote. What happens if people give him this vote is that, well, let me not say him, give the mayor a vote. That eliminates checks and balances because you won't need the District 1 commissioner, the District 2 commissioner, District 5 commissioner, District 6 commissioner, District 9 commissioner. You will not need the commissioners that represent half of the city to do whatever you want to do. And they're saying that, well, we need to do this because, they're saying that the mayor needs to have a vote because commissioners abstain. That a commissioner can abstain from a vote and that will keep the mayor from voting. Okay, so I want to challenge that a little bit because since our mayor has been in office, there's only been 2 instances where abstaining votes happened. Number 1 is when Gold Cross, you remember Gold Cross, the ambulance service, the same ambulance service that was taking 2 hours to get to people. Yeah. There was a lady whose husband had a heart attack in South Augusta. She was in Savannah. She made it to him before the ambulance made it to him. Ridiculous. They wanted us to pass a contract for Gold Cross that would have given them double the money for less of service. And an abstention happened for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't even like to speak for other people.
Yeah.
But I do know that if we had to pass that contract for Gold Cross, which the mayor was ready to vote on, other commissioners were ready to vote on, number 1, it was an illegal contract. And number 2, Gold Cross didn't deserve that contract. And the second time was when the city administrator vote came up, where Takia Dowse received the most votes during the administrative search process. We paid $38,000 for that.
I heard about that, yeah.
$38,000 for an outside firm to tell us who our best candidate was. She got the most votes. He didn't want her for whatever reason. He didn't even put her name up in rotation. The 3 names that he put in were Tamika Allen, Robert Civic, and Richard Chess. Richard Chess dropped out. Miss Allen was still in. Robert Civic, during his interview, told us that we should hire Takia Dowse. Like, he's asking for the job, but he told us to hire Takia Dowse. So the abstention happened because the process was absolutely not fair to Ms. Dowse. If the mayor gets a vote, who cares what we think?
Yeah.
Checks and balances are over with. And they keep saying, well, it's stalling progress when people do that. It's not stalling progress on housing. It hadn't stalled progress on us working with the homeless. It hadn't stalled progress on us filling 4,000 potholes. It hadn't stalled progress on us finally getting ready to pave Wrightsboro Road from top to bottom. What it's doing is getting in the way of bad politics.
Yeah.
People doing things for their buddies and things of that nature. And I can only imagine that if there was an extra vote added to the commission, that level of accountability and transparency goes away. They don't need us.
And and based on what you said, and I said I'm not super knowledgeable in politics like that, but based on what you said, one could assume. Now I'm not saying this was going to happen. One could assume, based on how you said it happened, it would seem as though if certain people wanted certain votes to happen, that those 6 that knew about all that stuff is always going to vote that way.
Of course.
So the other 5 is like, whatever.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
That's one way.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is with that mayor, I guess, with the mayor having a vote, a lot of y'all voices don't matter at that point.
Right.
Because it's kind of like, almost like not him, maybe not him, no. It's almost like with that thought process or wanting to do that, it would seem as though someone's trying to change that system y'all have of strong council, weak mayor.
Of course.
Because then it would be weak council,
Strong mayor.
strong mayor.
And if you notice, when the mayor had a press conference about him having a vote, who did he have standing with him? Every living former mayor. Every living former mayor and the person who wrote our charter. So if you think that this is just happenstance, oh, we need this because it's going to help us make progress in the city, don't be fooled by that. It will not help us make progress in the city. Case in point, today in our commission meeting, we shot down a contract for a business that literally was paid $25 million to change light bulbs in the city.
$25 million. What light bulb? Where the light bulbs at? In the sky or something?
I couldn't tell you.
In regular buildings?
Yeah, in our part in the city of Augusta's buildings. Now,
$25 million.
some commissioners, not me, and not other commissioners that look like me, had meetings with this business, had meetings with some of the contractors, and they created a contract for $14 million to change more light bulbs. And the facilities that we changed the light bulbs in with the first $25 million, they were going to change those light bulbs again, basically.
Oh, wow.
So why am I saying all of this? The city administrator did not want this to pass because she did not see the contract. The finance director did not see the contract. The procurement director, who's responsible for seeing contracts, didn't see the contract. And the legal department did not see the contract. And the person that we pay to do this kind of work, our consultants, didn't see the contract. 5 of the most essential people did not see that contract. But the same commissioners that signed that resolution to give the mayor a vote saw the contract. And they were ready to pass the contract. What we realized today was that the city of Birmingham is suing the same company for $25 million.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Because they did not meet their side of the bargain. And they were ready to pass the contract. They were ready to pass it. Now, if the mayor had a vote, I am 100% positive that the contract would have passed. 100%.
Because those same people saying yes,
Yeah.
and now it's like it's going to be a camaraderie there.
Yes, 100% believe that contract would have passed. If that statement makes people angry, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm telling something that's not truthful here. But we fought it. We fought it. And the only way we fought it was by telling the truth of what was happening. We just say the city $14 million.
Yeah.
And guess what? We're going to go get our 25 back too. Because they promised us cost savings and we can't find it. Right? So I said that to say this. You need checks and balances.
Definitely. 100%.
You need checks and balances. $14 million to change some light bulbs can go towards helping women find childcare for their children. It could go towards our homeless, having somewhere to live. It can go towards filling more potholes, tearing down more blighted properties. But the attention is helping buddy, sister. You know what I mean?
Buddy system.
I don't subscribe to that type of politics. And I think that giving any mayor a vote would be a very irresponsible thing to do. Even if we had the best mayor of all times in the seat, I think it would be terrible. It would be a terrible idea. Very much so.
Well, that was a good clip. I like that. That was a good clip. It just because you hear
I'm
about
gonna get in
stuff.
trouble for it. I know it.
You hear about it, but it's towards the end. If they watch that far, they watch that far.
They'll be all right.
I don't start off with drama. I always start off with funny stuff. So my story be funny stuff, but I like to my notes I got. You said so like that's the thing about media with me. Like even the last 10 minutes we spoke about was I understand it because I heard about so many things, but I also feel like the first hour you said way more important things. You know, so I always try to push that. But I definitely could see anything you pass is not gonna give. It's not about to get voted on. You better hope one of them like what you say because you need that one more. You one short every time.
That's it.
So it's gonna be. I might start watching them now. I'm gonna start watching to see everybody's facial expressions.
Hey man, I've learned now to just be quiet.
It's funny
Speak
though.
when you have to.
It is funny. I do want your opinion on one thing that I never got your opinion on before, and the Eric Mays. You know, I know he passed away now, but I'm not gonna lie. Last year I had a run where I watched it every single day. Every day. Like I just loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I don't know. He was just entertaining to me. But I also thought of you every day like, yo, I would wonder how this would work in Augusta.
Oh, man.
There's no way, but he was so disrespectful.
Eric Mays, man.
Funny though.
Yeah.
Comical. I mean, it's literally like I feel like that's a stand-up show. Is that real? Like, is that really how it can be in places for real?
Oh yeah.
I feel like Detroit has got so much more stuff to focus on than that. Like the water, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was just to see his aggression. It was just funny to me. I don't know. I wanted to know your thought on him and just that, like the clip that they posted. But Detroit has always had a weird government.
I think with Eric Mays, like his whole thing was that, you know, you might try to silence me, but you're not going to. And I think you can even apply that to local government now. Like there's been times when I've been speaking and they try to shush me, like try to hurry me up or try to stop me from talking. I'm like, whoa. If you interrupt me again, I'm gonna talk for another 3 minutes. So you make your mind up. Which one do you want? You either gonna let me finish or I'm just gonna start talking louder.
That's funny.
When you start telling the truth, people want to shut you up. And that's just how that works. With Eric Mays was kind of over the top. Some things he could have let go. Like when he banged on the table, I was like, I want order. And banging on the table. Like, I know you want me to die. Like that's a little, you know. But how he used to go in on Kate Fields, but I used to.
Or like repeating her in a funny tone.
Right.
That's funny to me. I love all that type of stuff.
Do I got the floor? Yes, you do. Yeah. That man was petty, but I do believe that, you know, the voice of the unheard is aggression. And if you've got to scream, if you got to get a little rowdy, you got to do it. There's been times when I've gotten rowdy, maybe not to the Eric Mays degree of things, but I've had to raise my voice a time or two. When people do the wrong thing, somebody has to stand up and say the right thing or do the right thing. And I think that's how he was. That's just how he was.
Yeah.
And you have folks like that in Augusta. They're misunderstood. They're misinterpreted. But if only you knew what we deal with before we get to those commission meetings, the emails, the phone calls, the letters that we get in the mail. Like if only you knew, you would understand why we move some of the ways that we move. We face a lot of opposition, but sometimes the voice of the unheard translates into aggression, you know?
Yeah.
It happened when we were dealing with the grocery store item. Like, you know, we were able to pass an MOU to open up a new grocery store in the Laney Walker neighborhood. That's something we've been looking for since 2013. We were able to get it done. Thank God, right? But things got a little rowdy in some of the backroom meetings about it. But it happens.
Yeah, that's how
right?
it's like.
It happens. But you don't take it personal.
Yeah.
It just happens. I mean, you yell at home with your people. So it happens. It happens.
So, man, I always love talking to you. Just a dope interview in itself. I'm trying to think to have any more. I've talked to some I say politicians. I hate to call y'all that. I know yes, but people of office. Let's say people of office. I always have my theory is that you get some of the best interviews people when they're gone out of office because they can actually say more.
Yeah.
But I would say today you said more than I ever expected you to say.
Really?
So yeah, you're in a different bag now. I like that. You know, you in your bag. Ain't no wrong. Hey, you in your bag. You in your bag. You know,
I don't have nothing to lose, man. I don't have nothing to lose. My thing is I have to say what I feel compelled to say because that's my responsibility. People have been tired of seeing through the political BS, man. People know when you're lying.
But
right?
I think, and even in this interview, you see the growth in you, and like, far you standing more on certain things, you standing more in front of certain things, and Just seeing their growth is amazing. When you watch these interviews back over the years, I'm pretty sure you'll see each time how you just got stronger and stronger, smarter, smarter. So, but I know I said I won't ask this question, but I just want to ask, it's voting time. About to be time to vote. What is it? May
21st.
May 21st. You up again?
Yeah.
District 1. Tell people why they should vote for you.
Well, I mean, I think you should vote for me because if not anything else, you have a commissioner that's going to always fight for you. You're going to have a commissioner that's always going to stand up and, be that voice in the room for you. I know what it's like to be out here up creek without a paddle. Like, I know what that's like. We grew up in East Augusta, moved to Dogwood, moved to Hepzibah. Like, I get it. I know what life is like. And I'm not sitting high and looking low now. Hell, I'm still in the trenches. Like, I'm there. And it's just my thought that Augusta is so unique in our needs and what we have and what we don't have that the government should be a tool to help people get from one way of life to another. And the things that I've been pushing since I've been on the commission has been that, whether that was the blighted properties ordinance to tear some of these abandoned houses down, which is a SIG-out ordinance to help Black business owners have a fair chance at doing business in the city, whether that was the grocery store MOU to get healthy food options to a community that hadn't had it since 2013. I could go on. I've spent the last 3.5 to 4 years of my life trying my best to serve as many people as possible. We had $6 million awarded in rental assistance, $2 million awarded to small businesses. Like the things that folks have directly asked for, I've gone to the table to try to address it. And like I said, I can't do it by myself. It takes 6 votes to do everything. So why should you vote for me again? We've gotten so much done over the last 4 years. And it's just my thought that the next 4 years will be just even better because now we'll have an opportunity to revitalize our Riverwalk. We'll have an opportunity to revitalize more communities. I plan on opening a can of worms for people living in poverty. Like we need to take this government and use it in a way to help people who are living in poverty. The city has a 24 to 25% poverty rate. That's about 50,000 people living in poverty, and nobody's talking about it. These next 4 years, not only are I'm going to start talking about it, I'm going to start screaming about it. So it's like the work that we've done is great, but it's time to build on that. And I honestly feel like, man, once elected, I only have 4 more years to try to do something again. And you can rest assured that these next 4 years, man, I'm gonna work every day. I'm gonna work as hard as I can. But the people in this district who have historically gone without representation, that is why I want to run again. Because the people who are doing well, they're gonna always have representation. But the people who don't, they never have. I think it's time for the people to reclaim this government. And that's gonna be my mission for the next 4 years, is to turn this city back over to the people.
Man, clap
So
it
I
up
need
for
your help
Jordan
doing
Johnson,
that.
man.
Really do.
Clap it up for Jordan Johnson.
I appreciate you, man.
Clap it up. Clap it up.
It's time. Fast time.
Clap it up, man.
Fast time.
It's amazing, man. I was a pleasure talking to you. I wish you best. I can say what I can say, but I know it don't really matter because you probably still nervous. But I think you're gonna win, of course. I think you're gonna win it again. So
I appreciate you.
definitely next 4 years, I'm looking for better. I also feel like sometimes when you vote differently, you have to somewhat reset because somebody's gonna come in wanting to change things, and now you can have 4 years of progression and you can have 4 years of regression. Not saying that person will be bad, but regression is never the goal in politics.
Right. Right.
But that's just my thought.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
You're
So,
absolutely right, man. We've been working over the last 3.5 years doing things that should have been done, 12, 13 years ago. But we're not
some
going to go
50.
backwards. Well,
So-
some 50. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to get this government back to the people. And Augusta's going to be a better place because of that.
Thank you, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming through, man. You know
Thank
what I'm
you,
saying? Always a pleasure. More the Masters Podcast. We out. So, hold on, I'm going to come over there real quick
Okay.
so I can get a picture. Coming back, so I'm just standing there.